You're not snap. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun. West Side Story. This is an original script. This is from we should call it the George Chakiris collection. Is that
Correct.
what we're going to call it?
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, I'm here at Heritage Auctions with Brian Chanis, whose title nobody can remember, but it's really fancy and great. HA.com, their big auction, the 25th and 26th. Please check it out. Check out all our videos. Go to HA.com. You can download the catalog. You can see it online. You can ask questions, arrange your bidding. Anything. You can do anything you want.
Anything you want.
That's how great HA.com is. This all came from George Chakiris. We're going to go through all the pieces. But when we were shooting the Planet Hollywood preview with you guys in Beverly Hills, and I'm sure it was something you had worked on, but that was the day he came in.
That's right.
And brought the stuff. So I got to meet Mr. Chakiris, who has a really cool autobiography that he also wrote within the last year or two, I believe. Right. Really nice guy. You were very kind enough that I got to.
Yeah,
had you been talking? Because I'm curious about this. With someone who's alive like that, is that something you'd been talking to him for a while about the collection? Like, how does that work? If you can give our audience a little sense of.
Yeah, basically, a friend of ours who is a vintage collector knows George, and he says, "Hey, there's an actor who's thinking of deaccessioning his collection," and
that's a good word.
So and so I contacted him, went to his house, and looked through his collection, and then we basically had him bring the goodies in, and the rest is history.
Yeah,
so
he's worked on a million movies. I mean, if you actually look at his IMDb list, he's on everything. However, rightly or wrongly, he is remembered as Bernardo from West Side Story. So let's just show a couple of these
pieces. Pretty classic role.
Yeah, this is his script, which I love, and part of what I love about it, these are just a couple of loose pages.
Inserts,
a couple of insert pages and whatnot. But obviously, the credits based on a conception, book by Arthur Laurentis, music by Bernstein, Sondheim, just all of that is incredible. And then he signed it, and I'm going to read this, this is my shooting script for WSS, which I can only assume is West Side Story. I made no notes, as all of this was committed to memory when I played Riff. Oh wait, he's Riff. I'm sorry.
No. He played Riff in the Broadway prior to this.
Okay, so I'm not wrong.
You're not
Bernardo.
wrong.
Okay,
correct,
funny.
Okay. He played Bernardo in the film.
When I played Riff in the London Company, and it wasn't convenient or necessary while rehearsing for the film. Okay, so he knew the part so well, but he did, as we saw, make some notes occasionally, which is really cool because there's just stuff in his own handwriting of just various different notes, meet me on the roof later, and there's something I must tell you, and whatever. And obviously I don't know if any of this is in the movie, not in the movie, whatever, but this is a gorgeous age script, and I would have thought this was the piece from his collection because it's his script. But there's something even better. What do we got here?
Okay, this is the archery cuff. And the funny story about this is that one of the other sharks went to a sporting goods store and got this archery cuff, and he wore it to the set. All the other sharks, the guys, they loved it. And so Irene Sharoff, the costume designer, she ended up buying a set for everybody. And that kind of set the scene.
But I just love the idea that the definition of, if you will, the Puerto Rican street gang, the Sharks, is an archery cuff. There's no sense to it, which is what movie making is, but just an incredible piece. And this was the one he wore. This is Chakiris' one that he wore as Bernardo, the leader of the Sharks. I just think it's gorgeous to have.
Really cool.
And I was blown away by it because I feel like you see it in every shot of him, basically. Maybe not when he's dressed up.
It's iconic. It really is.
Maybe not when he's dressed up for the gym dance, but he's in everything. Yeah. I know West Side Story I know it really well, like really well, like better than the average human being. Were you ever a play person?
Oh yeah, not too much, but I mean, I certainly appreciate it. I mean, it's a classic Robert Wise,
Yeah, just gorgeous. And I grew up in New York City on 70th and West End in a building that's called Lincoln Towers. But it's basically part of the area where Lincoln Center is that if you saw the Spielberg remake, that's the area where they're tearing down the sort of that sort of not slums, but
In
where
the
where
barrio.
they're all
Yeah.
living, and to put up Lincoln Center and the building my parents live in and all this kind of stuff. And so there's sort of this interesting connection there. This piece also blows me away, and I don't want to take it off the wall, but come on in closer. So this is Levin, right?
Yes.
Boris?
Boris Levin.
Boris Levin, and he wins the Oscar for art direction
And set decoration.
And set decoration. This is basically a pre-production design for the scene where Anita gets harassed by the Jets, and it's even for a fun musical from the 60s, it is a really intense
pretty
scene.
gritty.
It's gritty. It is a sort of a sexual violence scene without the sexual violence, but with the intent of sexual violence.
For sure.
And the piece is just beautiful because you can kind of see the way the plan of the art direction for the film was to have her color really be the only color in the shot, and then sort of surrounded almost like a faceless gray of the Jets. I just think it's a beautiful moment from the film, and to actually have actual production art, I mean, from any movie, let alone West Side Story. And Chakiris sort of got this back in the day, right? He basically asked if he could
got
take
it from the set at the end. I mean, you know how it is after they.
No, but just the fact that he had the wherewithal, or that he knew it was special, wanted it. I don't know. I sort of love.
It's his favorite piece.
And he's not in this scene,
No.
which is the other thing that's really interesting. So he didn't choose like a Bernardo scene.
Right.
He went for what he just thought was like this incredible
pivotal scene.
pivotal scene,
Yeah.
but also just this gorgeous piece of, I mean, again, Oscar-winning production art.
Sure.
Sorry for you Star Wars fans, the Ralph McQuarrie of West Side Story. Does that help at all? I don't know, it helps me. The Chakiris collection is one of a bunch of collections that you guys have in this auction, which is really interesting. They're worth checking out. The Chakiris collection, the Stanley Kramer collection, which we'll be talking about in another video, so subscribe to our videos. And they're all in the big heritage auction, the 25th and 26th of July. Go to ha.com, sign up now, download the catalog, check out all the George Chakiris stuff and everything else.